Did you know that rosemary, a plant commonly used in cooking, could be much more powerful than you imagine? In this video, we explore its hidden use as a spiritual weapon, with properties that have been forgotten or even prohibited in many cultures. Discover what no one has told you about rosemary and how it can influence your spiritual, energetic, and emotional life. Get ready to uncover secrets that will change your perspective on this humble herb. This raises a fascinating question. Can rosemary be more than just an ordinary plant? Could there be a forbidden spiritual power hidden in its leaves, a force known to few, but revered and feared equally? In ancient times, rosemary held a prominent place in various cultures and spiritual traditions. The ancient Greeks associated it with memory and immortality. Garlands of rosemary were woven to place on graves, symbolizing the eternal remembrance of the deceased. It was also burned in ceremonies to purify the air and ward off negative energies. In Egypt, this plant was used in embalming rituals, as it was believed that its aroma could guide the soul of the deceased to the afterlife, protecting it from evil influences. These practices show that from ancient times, rosemary was valued not only for its physical qualities, but also for its ability to connect with the spiritual plane. Over time, its use spread to Rome and medieval Europe, where rosemary acquired an even more symbolic role. During the Middle Ages, it was considered a sacred plant capable of protecting people and homes from evil spirits. It was common to hang branches of rosemary on doors to keep negative influences away. In weddings, brides wore crowns of rosemary as a symbol of fidelity and eternal love, while warriors used it as an amulet to gain courage in battle. But despite its popularity, warnings also arose about its improper use. It was said that if not handled with care, rosemary could attract unwanted energies or open doors that should remain closed. In magical and esoteric traditions, rosemary has a special place. Practitioners of white magic used it to cleanse spaces and protect against negativity, while in dark magic, its energy was harnessed to enhance more complex spells. This duality is what makes it both fascinating and feared. Ancient alchemical texts mention it as a key ingredient in formulas to transform both body and spirit, but always with the warning that its power should not be taken lightly. In some cultures, rosemary was prohibited in certain rituals, based on the belief that only the initiated could handle its spiritual force without risks. It's curious that despite its importance in so many cultures, rosemary is not explicitly mentioned in sacred texts like the Bible or the Quran. This has led to many speculations about why a plant with such symbolism and spiritual use would be omitted. Some theorize that its exclusion could be due to its association with mystical practices considered dangerous, or because religious leaders chose to keep its true power secret. In any case, its absence only adds to the mystery surrounding it. In modern popular traditions, rosemary is still revered for its protective and purifying properties. It is used in rituals to cleanse homes, attract good fortune, and strengthen personal energy. However, warnings about its misuse persist. In energy cleansing rituals, for example, it is recommended to use it in moderation, as its smoke can be so powerful that, if overused, it could disrupt the environment rather than harmonize it. This idea that rosemary can be a double-edged tool reinforces its image as a spiritual weapon that must be handled with care. Like many other plants considered sacred, rosemary seems to have a dual nature. It can be a powerful ally for those seeking protection, purification, or spiritual connection, but also a catalyst for chaos if its energy is not respected. This raises a fascinating dilemma. Should we consider rosemary as a gift from nature for our well-being, or as a tool that should only be used with a deep understanding of its effects? What is indisputable is that its history is full of mystery and hidden meanings, continuing to captivate those who delve into its study. Rosemary, a plant with an unmistakable aroma and a simple appearance, has witnessed the evolution of human civilizations, leaving a deep mark on cultures, traditions, and spiritual beliefs. From the Mediterranean coast to the distant lands of Asia and beyond, this shrub has been valued not only for its medicinal and culinary properties, but also for its symbolic and spiritual relevance. The history of rosemary is rich and diverse, a blend of myth, science, magic, and spirituality that has shaped its perception over the centuries. In ancient Greece, rosemary was considered a sacred plant with properties beyond the physical. Greek students wore rosemary crowns on their heads during exams, believing that its fragrance sharpened memory and improved concentration. In religious ceremonies, rosemary was a recurring element, used as an offering to the gods and burned at altars to purify the environment. The Greeks believed that this plant was linked to the goddess Aphrodite, symbolizing love and beauty, which gave it an aura of divinity that endured in later cultures. When the Roman Empire adopted many Greek traditions, rosemary became integrated into Roman daily life with new adaptations. It was used in banquets and festivals, not only for its aroma, but also as a symbol of abundance and good fortune. Additionally, the Romans extended its medicinal use, employing it as a remedy for digestive problems, headaches, and skin conditions. Roman legionaries carried it with them on military campaigns, not only as spiritual protection, but also as an antiseptic for wounds. The symbolism of rosemary reached a new level during the Middle Ages in Europe. With the rise of Christianity, the plant became associated with the Virgin Mary. A popular legend tells that, while the Holy Family fled to Egypt, Mary spread her blue mantle over a rosemary bush, and from that moment on, the plant's flowers turned the same blue color. This tale solidified the perception of rosemary as a protective and divine plant. It was common for families to place branches of rosemary in their homes to ward off evil spirits and diseases. At funerals, people carried sprigs of rosemary to symbolize the eternal remembrance of the deceased, and they were placed on graves as a sign of respect and hope in immortality. During this same period, folk medicine and herbal knowledge flourished, giving rosemary a central role in natural remedies. Healers used it to treat various physical and emotional ailments. Its leaves were macerated and turned into ointments to relieve muscle and joint pain. Rosemary infusions were prescribed to boost immunity and combat fatigue. It was even used in therapeutic baths to purify the body and renew energy. This holistic approach to the plant, combining the physical and spiritual, reinforced its reputation as an invaluable resource. As Europe moved toward the Renaissance, rosemary began appearing in alchemy, a practice that blended primitive science and spirituality. Alchemists considered it a key ingredient in formulas aimed at physical and spiritual transformation. Rosemary was believed to have the ability to purify and harmonize the elements, facilitating healing processes and connection with higher dimensions. This esoteric use also attracted controversy in some circles, where it was warned that its energy could be volatile if not handled with proper respect, leading to its inclusion in lists of restricted plants for specific rituals. In Africa, particularly in the northern and western regions, rosemary took on a profound spiritual significance after its introduction from the Mediterranean. In some traditions, it was used as part of community protection rituals. Spiritual leaders would burn rosemary leaves at the corners of villages to create energetic barriers against negative forces. It was also used by healers to create amulets designed to repel bad influences and ensure the safety of the wearers. In healing practices, the plant was combined with other local herbs to amplify its effectiveness, both physically and mystically. In the Caribbean, where African traditions merged with European and native elements, rosemary gained prominence in spiritual folklore. Its use in spiritual cleansing rituals became popular, and it is still employed today to sweep negative energies from homes. Rosemary leaves are mixed with holy water or sea salt to prepare sprays that are then applied to the corners of houses, a method considered effective for restoring peace and balance in living spaces. This practical and symbolic approach to rosemary reinforces its image as a plant charged with power. In the Asian continent, although rosemary is not native, it was adopted in traditional Chinese medicine due to its unique energetic properties. It was believed to balance yin and yang, contributing to internal harmony. In Japan, its introduction was more connected to cultural and commercial exchanges with Europe, but it quickly became integrated into tea ceremonies and meditation practices. It was said that its aroma helped clear the mind and reach a state of serenity, making it an ally in the pursuit of mental clarity. Myths and legends surrounding rosemary also crossed oceans, adapting to local cultures. In Australia, for example, the plant became a symbol of remembrance after World War I due to its presence on the Gallipoli Peninsula, where the Allied forces fought. Every year during Anzac Day, people wear sprigs of rosemary to honor the fallen soldiers. This contemporary use of rosemary as a symbol of remembrance echoes its historical function in European funeral traditions. In modern practice, rosemary continues to play an important role in various cultures. It is an essential part of white magic, used in protection and purification rituals, where it is burned to cleanse spaces or placed in small pouches that people carry as amulets. In some contexts, it is combined with quartz and other herbs to enhance its protective energy. On the other hand, rosemary has also been the subject of warnings and restrictions in certain spiritual practices. In medieval Europe, some religious orders cautioned against its use in rituals, considering it a double-edged plant due to its ability to amplify both positive and negative energies. This fear has persisted in some esoteric circles, where caution is recommended when working with its energy to avoid attracting unwanted influences. The relationship between rosemary and spirituality and medicine has evolved over the centuries, but its essence as a versatile and deeply symbolic plant remains intact. Its ability to heal, protect, and connect with dimensions beyond the tangible has placed it in a special place in human history. Upon exploring its historical and cultural context, it becomes clear that rosemary is not just an aromatic herb, but a bridge between the physical and the spiritual, a tool that, when used with respect, can bring balance and transformation to those who delve into its knowledge. Rosemary, a plant that many associate with cooking or home remedies, possesses an intriguing duality that makes it a powerful resource in both the physical and spiritual realms. Valued for its medicinal properties and mystical symbolism, it has been the subject of study, veneration, and in some cases, fear. Its ability to act as a bridge between the physical and metaphysical has placed it in a unique position in human practices, and its history is full of examples that highlight this fascinating duality. Medically, rosemary has been an essential tool for treating various health issues. Its leaves and flowers contain active compounds like rosmarinic acid and essential oils, which have proven anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and antimicrobial properties. These benefits have been utilized for centuries to alleviate common ailments such as digestive problems, muscle and joint pain, and to strengthen the immune system. Its ability to stimulate blood circulation also makes it a natural remedy for pain and inflammation in the body. While these medical uses are widely recognized, rosemary also has a notable presence in alternative therapies, where it is used as a revitalizing tonic promoting general well-being. However, the impact of rosemary is not limited to the physical realm. In the spiritual domain, it has been perceived as a plant with mystical properties that transcend its medicinal function. Throughout the centuries, it has been attributed with the ability to purify spaces, protect against negative influences, and strengthen the spirit. These qualities have made rosemary a central element in rituals and ceremonies intended to clear unwanted energies and create a harmonious environment. Practitioners of various spiritual traditions burn rosemary to ward off malevolent entities and open a channel of connection with higher dimensions. Its smoke, considered purifying, is used to clear energetic blockages and restore balance. Rosemary is also known for its ability to amplify the intentions of those who use it. This characteristic, explored in esoteric practices, makes it a valuable but dangerous tool. Like other plants considered sacred, its improper use can have adverse effects. For example, some believe that working with rosemary without sufficient knowledge can intensify negative emotions or attract unwanted energies. This perception has led to warnings in certain esoteric circles about the reckless handling of the plant, especially in black magic rituals, where its energy could backfire and affect the practitioner. This duality of rosemary, which makes it an ally for healing and protection, but also a catalyst for powerful and potentially dangerous energies, is deeply rooted in its cultural symbolism. In ancient times, it was used as a symbol of memory and eternal remembrance in both wedding and funeral ceremonies. This symbolism reinforces its ability to act as a link between the living and the dead, an attribute that connects it to practices of spiritual communication. In some rituals, rosemary is used to facilitate contact with ancestors, allowing messages to flow between dimensions. The idea that rosemary has a dark side is not new. In several cultures, warnings have been issued about its potential to alter energies unpredictably, if not handled with respect. In medieval Europe, some religious orders limited its use in rituals due to its ability to amplify both positive and negative intentions. This fear of its power led to its consideration, in certain contexts, as a double-edged plant, one that could heal but also cause imbalance if not used correctly. In this sense, rosemary shares characteristics with other sacred plants that have an ambivalent nature, such as wormwood or incense. Despite these warnings, rosemary has been widely used in protection rituals. One of the most common uses is as an amulet. Dried rosemary leaves are placed in small fabric pouches or containers that people carry with them to protect themselves from negative influences. In some places, rosemary branches are placed on doors or windows to keep out bad energies. It is also common to burn rosemary in spiritual cleansing ceremonies, where its smoke acts as a protective shield, warding off any form of evil or disturbing energy. Although these practices are simple, they reflect deep trust in the power of rosemary to act as a spiritual guardian. In the esoteric context, rosemary is also used as a tool for divination. Some practitioners believe that this plant can open the third eye and facilitate the perception of hidden truths. For this purpose, its leaves are combined with other herbs and burned in rituals designed to induce visions or prophetic dreams. Its ability to stimulate the mind and awaken intuition makes it a valuable resource for those seeking to explore dimensions beyond the physical. However, this use also comes with warnings, as it is said that rosemary can intensify both positive and negative energies, depending on the emotional and spiritual state of the practitioner. Rosemary is also a reminder of the intrinsic connection between the physical and the spiritual. Its ability to heal the body while simultaneously acting on the energetic plane makes it a unique plant that defies simple categorization. It represents a balance between nature and the transcendental, a bridge that allows those who use it to access a state of holistic well-being. However, this duality requires conscious and respectful handling, as its energy can be both transformative and destabilizing if used without preparation or clear intention. In the modern world, rosemary continues to be valued for its versatility and power. Its use in aromatherapy to relieve stress and improve concentration has gained popularity, while its presence in purification and protection rituals remains alive in many spiritual traditions. Although its duality may be intimidating to some, those who understand and respect its nature find rosemary to be a powerful ally for healing and spiritual growth. Ultimately, rosemary is more than just a plant. It is a symbol of the human capacity to explore the visible and invisible, the tangible and intangible. Its duality, far from being a limitation, is an invitation to understand the complexity of our relationship with the natural and spiritual worlds. Like other powerful tools, its true potential lies in the respect and intention with which it is used. In conscious hands, rosemary can be a bridge to balance and clarity. In inexperienced hands, it can become a reminder of the need for humility in the face of the mysteries of nature. Rosemary, a humble-looking plant but deep in meaning, has been used for centuries in spiritual rituals and religious ceremonies across various cultures. This plant, both for its fragrance and medicinal properties, has played a prominent role in purification, protection, and connection with the sacred. Its versatility and ability to influence both the physical and spiritual realms have made it an essential element for those seeking balance, healing, or spiritual protection. In ancient Greece, rosemary was considered a sacred plant. The Greeks believed that this plant had a special connection with the divine world, and its fragrance was used to improve memory and stimulate concentration. Students would wear crowns of rosemary during exams, trusting that its fragrance would grant them mental clarity. Additionally, in religious ceremonies, rosemary was burned as an offering to the gods, symbolizing the connection between mortals and the divine. In some cases, it was used to purify temples and altars, ensuring that the space was free from negative energies before any ritual took place. The Roman Empire adopted many of the Greek traditions related to rosemary and expanded them. The Romans used it not only in religious ceremonies, but also in their funerary practices. During funerals, rosemary branches were placed beside the bodies of the deceased as a symbol of eternal remembrance. This practice not only had spiritual significance, but also reflected the belief that rosemary could protect the soul of the deceased during its journey to the afterlife. Additionally, the Romans used rosemary in purification rituals, cleansing their homes and sacred spaces to ensure they were protected from any malevolent influence. In the Middle Ages, rosemary reached an even greater symbolic status, particularly in Europe with the rise of Christianity. The plant became associated with the Virgin Mary and was considered a symbol of purity and devotion. According to a popular legend, Mary placed her mantle over a rosemary bush during her flight to Egypt, and from then on, the plant acquired its characteristic fragrance. This story reinforced the idea that rosemary had sacred and protective properties. During this period, it was common to place rosemary branches on doors and windows of homes to protect against witches and evil spirits. It was also used in weddings, where brides wore crowns of rosemary as a symbol of fidelity and eternal love. The use of rosemary in purification and protection rituals was not limited to Europe. In North Africa, particularly in Berber cultures, rosemary was used to create amulets to protect against the evil eye. These traditions spread throughout Africa as the plant was adopted in other regions. In some rituals, rosemary branches were burned at the corners of homes to remove any negative energy and attract good fortune. Healers also mixed rosemary with other local herbs to prepare potions used in spiritual cleansing ceremonies. In the Caribbean, where African, European, and native influences intertwined, rosemary gained a prominent role in healing and protection practices. Practitioners of Santeria and other spiritual traditions used rosemary in rituals designed to cleanse people of harmful influences. In these rituals, spiritual baths were prepared with rosemary-infused water, and people would immerse themselves in it to eliminate any accumulated negativity in their personal energy. This practical and symbolic approach reflected the belief that rosemary could not only act as a protector, but also as a purifier. In Asia, although rosemary is not native, its introduction through trade routes led it to be adopted in certain spiritual practices. In Japan, for example, rosemary was used in tea ceremonies and meditation practices. It was believed that its aroma helped clear the mind, allowing participants to reach a state of serenity and mental clarity. In traditional Chinese medicine, rosemary was valued for its ability to balance internal energies, harmonizing yin and yang. While its spiritual use was not as prominent as in other cultures, its integration into healing practices reflected its versatility and power. The symbolism of rosemary also extends to Wiccan and neo-pagan traditions. In these practices, rosemary is considered an essential tool for white magic. It is used in rituals of protection, purification, and divination. For example, practitioners often burn rosemary leaves as incense during ceremonies to cleanse the space of negative energies. Rosemary is also placed in small bags that people carry as protective amulets. In some rituals, rosemary is mixed with other herbs and burned to facilitate visions or prophetic dreams, reflecting its connection with intuition and spiritual perception. Despite its many positive uses, rosemary has also been the subject of warnings in certain spiritual traditions. In medieval Europe, some religious orders restricted its use in rituals due to its ability to amplify both positive and negative energies. It was believed that rosemary could act as a catalyst, intensifying the emotions and mental states of those who used it. This characteristic made it a powerful tool but potentially dangerous, especially in inexperienced hands. In some cases, it was thought that rosemary could open doors to spiritual dimensions that not everyone was prepared to handle. Rosemary has also been used in community rituals designed to protect entire groups. In West Africa, for example, spiritual leaders would burn rosemary leaves at the borders of villages to create energetic barriers that shielded the community from malevolent influences. This type of ritual reflected the belief that rosemary could act not only as an individual protector, but also as a collective guardian. In the Caribbean, similar practices involved using rosemary infusions to spray homes and public spaces, ensuring they were free from any negativity. In the modern context, rosemary remains a valued plant for both its spiritual properties and practical applications. Its use in aromatherapy to relieve stress and improve concentration is widely recognized, while its presence in purification and protection rituals remains alive in many cultures. People use it to cleanse their homes, create protective amulets, and connect with their intuition. Although its roots are deeply intertwined with ancient traditions, rosemary has proven to be a timeless tool that continues to adapt to the needs and beliefs of those who use it. Ultimately, rosemary is much more than just a plant. It is a symbol of the connection between the physical and the spiritual, a reminder that even the simplest tools can have a profound impact when used with intention and respect. Its rich history, full of meaning and nuances, reflects the diversity of human experiences and the constant search for balance and protection in a world full of uncertainties. From ancient Greek temples to modern altars, rosemary remains a testament to the transformative power of nature. The absence of rosemary in sacred texts such as the Bible or the Quran is an enigma that has generated speculation and analysis in various spiritual and academic circles. Despite being a plant known since ancient times for its medicinal, aromatic, and spiritual properties, its exclusion from the most influential religious writings has led to questions about its role in human history and its significance in the spiritual practices of different cultures. Exploring this absence is also an invitation to reflect on the evolution of sacred symbols and how religious traditions have adapted and excluded natural elements according to their historical and geographical contexts. In the Bible, plants play an essential role in the spiritual narrative, from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in Genesis, to the vine as a symbol of connection with God, and the fig tree as a metaphor for faith. Botanical elements are used to convey teachings and values. The olive tree, for example, is omnipresent and filled with symbolism associated with peace, hope, and sacred anointing. However, rosemary, despite its aromatic and medicinal qualities, is not explicitly mentioned in the scriptures. This is especially curious, as other aromatic herbs and spices, such as incense, myrrh, and hyssop, are prominent in religious rituals and biblical accounts. Some scholars suggest that the reason behind this omission may be linked to the geography and economy of the region where the events in the Bible were written. While rosemary is native to the Mediterranean basin, its use may not have been significant enough in the cultural and religious practices of ancient Israel to warrant specific mention. On the other hand, some experts believe that certain generic references to aromatic herbs or spices could include rosemary, albeit implicitly. However, these references do not provide enough evidence to confirm that rosemary played a relevant role in biblical rituals. The case of the Quran is similar. This text, which also uses references to natural elements as spiritual and moral symbols, emphasizes the importance of plants as divine gifts. The Quran mentions trees and fruits such as the olive tree, the vine, the fig, and the date palm, highlighting their benefits and symbolism. However, there is no direct mention of rosemary. Like in the Bible, this could be due to geographical or cultural factors in the regions of Arabia where Islam originated, as rosemary was not a commonly cultivated or used plant, which could explain its absence from Islamic texts. A possible explanation for this absence in both sacred texts lies in the utilitarian nature of rosemary in ancient cultures. While other plants such as incense and myrrh were associated with the sacred due to their exclusive use in religious ceremonies and offerings, rosemary was an everyday plant used in cooking, medicine, and personal hygiene. Its more mundane nature may have contributed to it not being given explicit symbolic importance in dominant religious traditions. Nevertheless, this perception has changed over time, and rosemary has gained a significant role in later spiritual practices, particularly in popular and esoteric traditions. It is interesting to observe how, despite not being included in sacred texts, rosemary has found a prominent place in the religious and spiritual practices of different cultures. In medieval Europe, for example, rosemary was deeply associated with spiritual protection. It was believed to ward off evil spirits and protect homes from negative influences. This use was not based on religious texts, but on popular traditions passed down through generations. In medieval weddings, brides carried rosemary bouquets as a symbol of fidelity and purity, and during funerals, branches of this plant were placed on graves as a gesture of eternal remembrance. In North Africa, rosemary also acquired spiritual symbolism that transcended its practical use. In Berber traditions, it was used as part of protective rituals to ward off the evil eye. Healers prepared amulets with rosemary branches, trusting in its ability to act as an energetic shield against negative influences. While these practices are not documented in sacred texts, they reflect an intuitive understanding of rosemary's spiritual properties based on observation and experience. Religious syncretism in the Caribbean offers another example of how rosemary has been integrated into spiritual practices outside canonical texts. Influenced by African, European, and indigenous traditions, Caribbean spiritual practices have adopted rosemary as a key element in cleansing and purification rituals. It is used to prepare spiritual baths aimed at eliminating negative energies and restoring balance. These practices, although not part of official Christian or Islamic doctrines, demonstrate how rosemary has been incorporated into belief systems that value its ability to influence the energetic plane. The symbolism of rosemary has also found a place in esoteric and magical traditions. In the context of African magic, for example, rosemary is used for purification, protection, and mental clarity. It is believed that burning rosemary leaves can cleanse a space of unwanted energies and create an environment conducive to meditation and spiritual connection. In this sense, rosemary acts as a bridge between the physical and the spiritual, a tool that allows practitioners to explore deeper dimensions of their being. The absence of rosemary in sacred texts can also be seen as a reflection of its duality. While other plants were elevated to the status of divine symbols due to their rarity or their exclusive use in religious contexts, rosemary has remained an accessible plant used by both peasants and kings. This accessibility may have limited its inclusion in religious narratives, which often sought to emphasize exceptional or extraordinary elements. However, this same characteristic has allowed rosemary to be adopted and adapted in a variety of cultural contexts, solidifying it as a plant that transcends borders and belief systems. Despite its absence from sacred texts, rosemary continues to be a deeply spiritual plant, filled with symbolism and meaning. Its ability to purify, protect, and connect with the transcendent has been recognized in numerous cultures and traditions. This duality between the mundane and the sacred, between the practical and the spiritual, is perhaps what makes rosemary a unique and fascinating plant. Its history invites us to reflect on the relationship between humans and the natural world, and how plants can become vehicles of meaning and transcendence even when they are not codified in sacred texts. Rosemary, with its rich tradition of spiritual uses, reminds us that the sacred does not always need to be mentioned to be valued. Rosemary, with its distinctive fragrance and rich tradition of practical and spiritual uses, occupies an interesting place when compared to other sacred plants that have a more explicit role in religious texts and rituals. While the olive tree, incense, myrrh, and the vine have been exalted in ancient writings as symbols of purity, spirituality, or divine connection, rosemary has forged a more discreet, yet equally significant path in the spirituality of various cultures. This comparison reveals the similarities, differences, and unique contexts that have shaped rosemary's spiritual role throughout history. The olive tree, one of the most venerated plants in religious traditions such as Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, symbolizes peace, prosperity, and forgiveness. In the Bible, the olive tree has a prominent presence, from the dove carrying an olive branch after the flood to the sacred anointing with its oil. This plant is intrinsically linked to ceremonies and spiritual practices that seek to reconnect humans with God and nature. In comparison, rosemary does not have an equivalent in foundational religious texts, but its use in purification and protection rituals reflects a parallel spiritual function. Just as anointed olive oil is used to bless and protect, rosemary is burned or placed at doors and windows to ward off negative influences. Incense and myrrh are two other sacred plants that have been celebrated in religious contexts. Both appear in the stories of the three kings, symbolizing divinity and mortality in their offering to the child Jesus. These aromatic resins were valued not only for their ritual use, but also for their cost and rarity, which elevated them to a near mythical status. In contrast, rosemary has been more accessible, which may have contributed to its use being more practical and less elitist. While incense and myrrh were reserved for sacred offerings and high-level rituals, rosemary integrated into everyday practices of purification and healing, demonstrating how a common plant can have a profound spiritual impact on daily life. The vine, a central symbol in Christian tradition, represents a direct connection with God. In the New Testament, Jesus describes himself as the true vine, establishing a link between this plant and faith. The vine carries symbolic weight beyond its fruit, which is transformed into wine for the sacrament of the Eucharist, a deeply spiritual act. Although rosemary does not have as prominent a role in established religious ceremonies, its symbolism of protection and memory places it in a similar category, in terms of its ability to connect the human with the divine. In medieval weddings, for example, rosemary was used to seal vows and bless the union of couples, reflecting a symbolism that, though more discreet, remains powerful. Hyssop, another plant mentioned in the Bible, is known for its purifying properties and use in cleansing rituals. In the Old Testament, It is mentioned as a tool for spreading sacrificial blood during atonement rituals. It was also used to sprinkle purified water on homes as a symbol of spiritual cleansing. While rosemary does not appear in these texts, it shares with hyssop a reputation as a cleansing and purifying plant. In European traditions, rosemary branches were burned to release their aromatic smoke, an act believed to remove negative energies and protect homes. This practice, though not codified in sacred texts, suggests an intuitive understanding of its symbolic and spiritual properties. Laurel, another Mediterranean plant with strong spiritual connotations, also offers an interesting comparison. In ancient Rome, laurel symbolized victory and wisdom, and laurel crowns were awarded to victors and poets. Its connection with Apollo, the god of light and truth, gave it a divine aura. While rosemary is not associated with specific gods on the same level, it was used in practices to strengthen memory and mental clarity, attributes that can be seen as parallels to those of laurel. Additionally, both plants were used to create sacred environments, reinforcing their ability to elevate the human experience to a more spiritual plane. Tulsi, known as holy basil, is another relevant plant for this comparison. Native to India, Tulsi holds a special place in Hindu tradition, where it is considered a manifestation of the goddess Lakshmi. It is revered in homes and temples as a symbol of purity and devotion, and its daily care is an act of worship. While rosemary does not enjoy the same level of religious adoration, its use in protective rituals and its connection to memory and spirit suggest a parallel in how plants can be perceived as vehicles of the divine, each in its cultural context. In indigenous traditions of the Americas, plants like sage and palo santo are considered sacred and used in cleansing and purification ceremonies. Sage, for example, is burned in smudging rituals to purify people and spaces, while palo santo is known for its ability to attract positive energies and dispel negative ones. These practices resemble the use of rosemary in Mediterranean and European cultures, where its smoke is also used as a means of cleansing and protecting. While each plant has distinct symbolism and cultural context, all share the ability to transform the physical and energetic through ritual use. Turmeric, another plant revered in India, carries spiritual symbolism related to purity and protection. It is used in marriage ceremonies and religious rituals to bless and protect. Its golden color is associated with the sun and prosperity, while its medicinal properties reinforce its connection to health and well-being. While rosemary does not have a chromatic symbolism equivalent, its ability to protect and heal places it in a similar category. Both plants reflect how humans have looked to nature for tools to connect with the divine and improve their lives. Cedar, widely used in the spiritual traditions of Native American peoples, is another example of a sacred plant that shares qualities with rosemary. Cedar is burned in rituals to invoke protection and cleanse energies, and its wood is used to build sacred spaces. Like rosemary, it is seen as a bridge between the earthly and the spiritual, a tool to connect with the transcendental and protect against negative influences. Comparing rosemary with these sacred plants highlights its versatility and its ability to adapt to different cultural and spiritual contexts. Although it does not have the prominence of other plants in religious texts or formal ceremonies, its use in popular rituals and everyday practices makes it an accessible symbol of protection, purification, and spiritual connection. While some plants have been elevated to almost divine status, rosemary remains a reminder that the sacred can be found in the everyday, in simple acts of care, and in connection with the natural world. This comparison also underscores the universality of plants as spiritual tools. From Tulsi in Hindu temples to sage in indigenous ceremonies, plants have served as bridges between the human and the divine, each adapting to the needs and beliefs of the cultures that use them. Rosemary, with its discreet yet powerful presence, occupies a unique place in this vast spiritual landscape, demonstrating that even the most modest plants can have a profound impact on people's spiritual and emotional lives. Rosemary, a plant that combines simplicity and depth, has transcended its everyday use to become a multifaceted symbol in different cultures and spiritual traditions. Throughout its history, it has evolved from being an aromatic herb used in cooking and medicine to a powerful tool in rituals of purification, protection, and spiritual connection. Although it is not explicitly mentioned in major sacred texts like the Bible or the Quran, its presence in popular spirituality and its integration into various ritual practices demonstrate that rosemary has played a significant role in the lives of those seeking balance and meaning. The symbolic richness of rosemary lies in its ability to adapt and resonate according to the cultural context in which it is used. In medieval Europe, rosemary was considered a shield against evil influences, and its fragrance was associated with strengthening memory and mental clarity. This practical and symbolic use reflected an intuitive understanding of its properties. People used it not only to protect their homes and sacred spaces, but also to carry it in amulets, ensuring safety and stability in times of uncertainty. In other parts of the world, such as North Africa and the Caribbean, rosemary acquired a prominent role in local spiritual traditions. In these regions, the plant was used to make potions and spiritual baths aimed at cleansing negative energies and creating a harmonious environment. This practical approach to spirituality demonstrates how rosemary has been valued not only for its physical properties, but also for its ability to influence the intangible. In these traditions, its use was both a daily practice and a ceremonial tool, showing its versatility and power. When compared with other sacred plants like olive, incense, or vine, rosemary presents an interesting contrast. While these plants are deeply intertwined with formal religious rituals and possess clear symbolism within sacred texts, rosemary has maintained a more discreet but equally significant presence. Its absence in religious scriptures has not prevented it from becoming an essential element in alternative spiritual practices, often nurtured by oral knowledge or popular traditions. This ability to exist outside the confines of institutionalized religions is perhaps one of rosemary's most intriguing aspects. Over the centuries, it has been an accessible spiritual tool for common people, a reminder that connection with the divine does not always require elaborate rituals or complex ceremonies. Its versatility and accessibility have allowed rosemary's use to transcend social classes and belief systems, turning it into a bridge between the everyday and the transcendental. Today, rosemary continues to be a relevant plant both in the spiritual and practical realms. In a world where stress and negative energies can be overwhelming, many turn to rosemary to find balance and calm. Its use in aromatherapy to relieve tension and promote mental clarity has been validated by scientific studies, reinforcing its reputation as a tool that combines the physical and the spiritual. Furthermore, in modern rituals, rosemary is burned or used in infusions to cleanse spaces and strengthen personal energy. Rosemary has also found its place in esoteric and neo-pagan practices, where it is valued for its ability to protect and purify. In these traditions, it is used to create energetic barriers that protect people and homes, and its smoke is employed to cleanse sacred objects and prepare spaces for ceremonies. This symbolic use is combined with a practical approach, making rosemary one of the most versatile plants in contemporary spiritual practice. Although each culture and tradition has adapted rosemary's use to its own needs and beliefs, there is a common thread that links all these practices: the perception of rosemary as a plant that protects, heals, and connects. This perception reflects a universal understanding of its potential, a shared intuition that transcends borders and ages. Rosemary, with its unmistakable fragrance and multifaceted properties, has become a symbol of humanity's search for harmony and well-being. As we explore the many layers of meaning in rosemary, it becomes clear that its impact goes beyond the visible. It is a plant that invites introspection and connection with the natural world, reminding us that the answers to our spiritual and emotional concerns can often be found in the simplicity of nature. In this sense, rosemary is not only a practical tool, but also a symbol of the interconnection between the physical and the spiritual. Rosemary, although modest in appearance, is a plant full of symbolism and power. Its ability to adapt to different contexts and meet both practical and spiritual needs makes it a fascinating example of how humanity has used the natural world to enrich its life experience. In a time when disconnection from nature is becoming increasingly common, rosemary serves as a reminder of the importance of returning to our roots and valuing the tools that nature offers to find balance, protection, and clarity. Rosemary has traveled a long and complex path, evolving from a humble aromatic shrub to a spiritual symbol filled with meaning. This plant has managed to transcend the limits of the purely physical, showing how its practical use in daily life intertwines with a deep spiritual connection that resonates throughout history. This connection to rosemary not only reflects the symbolic relationship between humans and nature, but also the ability of plants to act as intermediaries between the earthly and the divine. In many cultures, rosemary has been considered an energetic protector, a plant that serves as a shield against negative forces and harmful energies. This perception is noteworthy because it is not tied to a specific religious dogma, but arises from an intuitive understanding shared by various traditions. In Europe during the medieval period, it was believed that rosemary had the power to ward off evil spirits. For this reason, it was common for families to place sprigs of rosemary in their homes and burn its leaves to purify the environment. This practical use demonstrates how people integrated rosemary into their daily rituals, making it an accessible tool to maintain balance and security. The symbolism of rosemary also extended to rituals of life and death. At funerals, this plant was used as a reminder of the immortality of the soul and the memory of loved ones. Rosemary branches were placed on graves or given to attendees as a symbol of respect and eternal connection. This tradition shows how rosemary has been associated with the concept of continuity, both in earthly and spiritual life. Its ability to evoke memories also reinforces this connection, as its unique fragrance seems to awaken deep emotions and thoughts, making people feel more connected to their personal and collective history. In the context of weddings, rosemary also played a significant role during the Middle Ages. Brides carried rosemary bouquets as a symbol of fidelity and eternal love. It was believed that its fragrance strengthened the bond between the newlyweds, creating a solid spiritual foundation for their union. This practice shows how rosemary was not only a tool of protection, but also a symbol of hope and commitment, perfectly integrating into the most significant moments of human life. Rosemary has also been essential in the realm of folk magic and esoteric practices. In many traditions, it is used to create protective amulets that people can carry to ward off the evil eye and other negative influences. This use demonstrates how rosemary has been seen as a source of positive energy and a means of strengthening personal intent. Rosemary cleansing rituals, such as spiritual baths and smudging, are clear examples of how this plant has been integrated into practices aimed at restoring energetic balance and promoting overall well-being. The connection between rosemary and memory, as well as mental clarity, also carries an important spiritual component. In ancient Greece, it was believed that rosemary strengthened the mind and helped students retain knowledge. Although this belief has a practical basis in the stimulating properties of rosemary's aroma, it also reflects a deeper understanding of how plants can influence a person's mental and spiritual state. This association with memory and wisdom has endured over the centuries, making rosemary a plant that not only protects the body, but also the mind. Rosemary continues to be a powerful symbol of transformation and spiritual connection in modern traditions. Known for its use in aromatherapy to relieve stress, enhance concentration, and foster mental clarity, it balances the physical and emotional realms. In contemporary rituals, burning rosemary to cleanse spaces and eliminate stagnant energy reflects its ongoing role as a purifier and protector. Its significance extends to syncretic spiritual traditions, particularly in the Caribbean, where rosemary is combined with other herbs to create potions and baths that restore energetic balance. In these practices, rosemary bridges the earthly and spiritual realms, facilitating communication with higher energies and promoting harmony both within and outside the individual. Rosemary has also become integral to Wicca and other spiritual traditions, where it is highly valued for its protective and purifying properties. It plays a key role in full moon rituals, initiation ceremonies, and other practices aimed at deepening the connection to nature and the self. In these contexts, rosemary acts as a channel to focus intention and amplify energy, demonstrating how even a simple plant can profoundly influence spiritual experiences. The connection between rosemary and nature, along with its ability to symbolize both the practical and the spiritual, reminds us that the sacred is often found in the most accessible places. Its versatility and widespread use make it a spiritual tool for people of all cultures, ages, and beliefs. From ancient times to today, rosemary remains relevant not only for its healing properties, but also for its role in nurturing the spirit and protecting the soul. In an increasingly disconnected world, rosemary invites us to reconnect with nature and appreciate the gifts it offers to restore balance, protection, and clarity. Its rich history of symbolism and adaptability teaches us that even the simplest elements can carry profound meaning when used with intention and respect. With its unique fragrance and deep tradition, rosemary stands as a testament to humanity's quest for balance, connection, and transcendence.